areas in question.
These are 3 areas. Are you talking about 3 states or 3 local governments?
3 local governments.
Because you see, there are 774 local governments in Nigeria. So if for any reason elections cannot go in 3 local governments, I don't think it would vitiate the entire election. Don't forget that our argument from the beginning has always been that, yes, Boko Haram is active in 14 local governments out of 774, and that's not enough reason to shift the election. Now, today we are told that, many local governments, 11 have been liberated from Boko Haram. But it's not possible to have elections in those areas in the first instance. Before now, INEC had concluded arrangements to have elections in the, IDPs. So I don't think security can be any further excuse for postponing these elections.
Chief Metuh, those 3 local governments, I mean, yes, you talked about the successes recorded by the military. Can we go ahead, or do you think there can be any excuse, those 3 local governments notwithstanding?
Well, I think that the security is something, the strategy is not something any country lays on the table. We are waiting for the final briefing or the final decision by the security and INEC on the issue of these local governments. Until then, we are quite comfortable with the decision of INEC to hold elections in IDP. IDPs the decision to go to these local governments to hold election. But we believe that it might not be practicable. So when they come up with the final decision early next week, we as a law-abiding party will conform to their decision. We will obey the decision of the party. It is not a question, because I believe that we are not NGOs here. We are not here to second-guess the decision of INEC and security forces. Ours is to say our preparedness and to abide by the decision of the organs of the government that have engaged in this. So for now, whether INEC has decided that they will have elections in IDPs. Today in court, there is a court matter on whether INEC should hold elections there or not. And it is important to stress that the opposition, the government of Borno State, went to court in that respect. But whatever the decision is, whatever they come up with, we believe that our party will work hard. We believe that on the records of our president that will be re-elected, overwhelmingly Nigerians are supporting him. So we really, whatever they want, they can hold this election. IDPs, local governments, wherever they want. 774 local governments, 771 local governments, we will win overwhelmingly.
All right, Chief Metuh, just give us a moment. Let's get to our correspondent, Joy, and respect to her earlier, actually, Joy reporting to us from Anambra. Here's her report now.
The political atmosphere here in Anambra State is not entirely calm, as the race for the Anambra Central Senatorial seat is getting keener. For the PDP, in spite of the appeal court judgment which affirmed Honorable Uche Okwunife as the senatorial candidate of the election, other aspirants are still campaigning until the final judgment is given by the Supreme Court. And then for their campaigns, they are not without traces of violence, as they were shooting some days back and several persons were injured. Accusations went rife in the camps of the PDP and the All Progressives Grand Alliance, but in all of the accusations and counter-accusations, the Anambra State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hassan Kama, cautioned politicians against violent politics and said he will not hesitate to arrest any defaulter, as the law is no respecter of persons. He urged them to play by the rules of the game. And then in another development, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, as a political party, and Senator Alphonsus Ibeke represented Anambra North Senatorial Zone in the last dispensation. They sued the APC as a party and the APC presidential candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari, to court for breaches of the Constitution. They prayed the court to restrain Muhammadu Buhari from participating in the presidential election of 2015.